What I would like to do is welcome my two colleagues in this space today, Bella and Georgia, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves to you in a minute. But what we're going to do in this session, in this part of the program, is just hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak, real life experiences of some of the work that some of our kids have been doing and actually working really closely alongside teachers. So, first of all, I'll ask you to introduce yourselves. Bella?
Hello, my name's Bella. I'm Year 3 and I come from Gillis Street Primary School. We've been learning about the growth mindsets in our maths.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Georgia. I'm Year 10 from Craigmore High School, and at our site we've been doing the Student Learning Commission with our local partnership Ulibury, as well as a teacher-student professional learning community.
Thank you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do a little bit of an interview with Bella and Georgia and ask them about the sort of work that they've been doing. And we'll also throw to some clips from leaders who've been involved and some of the work that some of the kids have produced and so on. So Bella, we're going to start with you, and I'm going to ask you to tell us your story about the work that you've been doing at Gillis Street Primary School, and particularly you've been doing work where the kids have been giving teachers feedback in mathematics, haven't you? So do you want to tell us a little bit about what your teacher was doing and what happened?
Well, she was giving us a lot of feedback and she let us give us some time to talk about the strategies we might use for making all the growth mindsets in our maths. And she gave us time to think about what things we might have to improve in our maths and how to figure it out.
And I know that she asked you a bunch of questions, didn't she? So if we have a look, and you can pop around there, Bella, you'll be able to see your poster down there as well. She asked all of you a lot of questions about how does your learning environment help you, and what helps you learn in mathematics. And so I know that you did this with your class. You told her a lot of things, didn't you? It's Miss Janet, is that right? Yeah. What were the sort of things that you told her that helped you?
Well, it really helped me to have a little bit of a challenge instead of having it too easy or too hard. I like a little bit of a challenge, but if you have too much of a challenge, I think you get too stressed. So I think if you just have just a little bit of a challenge, it's all right.
Okay, so I know when we were talking to Vicky, who was one of the teachers working with you as well, she was saying that when you did the work and gave teachers feedback about how you were going in mathematics and what it felt like and so on, there were some really clear things there, and that was one of them, but that a lot of the kids were saying, in fact, we'd like more challenge. What else were they saying?
They were also saying that when they needed help and everything, that the teacher wouldn't give enough feedback. They wanted more feedback to know the strategies of what they're doing wrong and how they can fix it.
Okay, so it was two sort of levels of feedback. You wanted to know how you're going, but also how you might move forward, how you might improve what you're doing. Yeah? Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so when we have a look at the story, I know that your class with your teacher and Vicky and Janet, they produced this chart, didn't they, about some work on mindset and the sorts of things that they did along the way. And so this was the story of what happened in your class. But I also know one of the things that, and I was really surprised, the posters were fantastic. All of you also produced a series of posters, didn't you? And I don't think that's your poster, is it? I think we've got somebody else's poster there.
No, that one's not mine.
No. Okay, do you want to tell us about yours?
Well, I've got it written down here. If we did not work hard enough, what would be the fun, and where would we learn things?
Okay, so you were saying in your poster, and I know that you've created a whole series of these. Yeah. And what are you doing with the posters? How are you using them?
We were using them for our strategies to, when we get stuck, we can look back on these to see what would help us.
And I know you guys have been doing a lot of work too about the learning pit. What happens when you get in the pit and you get stuck and it's hard, and learning about growth mindset to do with that as well. So can you tell the audience a little, I don't know if everybody here knows what the learning pit is, some of them might not know. Can you help people learn about that?
Yeah. Well, two people in our class, Bonnie and Sam, were in a few of the maths lessons. They were coming around and saying if we were stuck on anything, if we're happy with what our work is, if we're not very confident in it. And then they made a graph of it, and we called it the dip. And there was this, most people felt really good in their maths, but at first not very many people were. And we were kind of talking about how to get out of the dip. So we made ladders and the strategies how to get out.
Okay, and you've been using some of those ever since, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I know that you had one of your friends, Alicia. One of the things she told us was a little story about her and how one of your other teachers was saying, was sometimes called her fixie because she had such a fixed mindset about stuff, and so he's been using that as a joke, hasn't he? How's Alicia going now?
Well, I think she's gotten a little bit better at her growth mindset, but she's still not great at it.
So there's still a little bit of stretch goal to go there. Okay. Well, look, thank you for that. One of the things that I know that Bella and the kids at the school did that was really powerful was that they then ran a learning workshop for the community and talked about what they had learned about fixed and growth mindset, and also talked about how we can have a shared language to be helping each other at school and at home in learning. And how did that go, the workshop?
It went good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. So what I'm going to do, Bella, thank you very much, and we'll come to your story in a second, Georgia. What I'm going to do is just play a little clip, because it wasn't just your teacher, was it, who got feedback?
No, it's our principal too.
She made them, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yes. So the principal is Deb O'Neill from Gillis Street Primary School, and we've just got a short clip, and we're going to sit down, of Deb talking about the feedback that teachers got from kids and sort of the amazing buy-in and impact that it had very quickly. So we're going to take a seat and listen to Deb.
A significant aspect of the pilot has been to activate student voice and for teachers to use feedback from students and make visible changes in their teaching, which is really powerful for the students to see. We felt it was really important to collect some data about what was happening in classrooms. So we used the TfEL Compass and developed a series of questions, open-ended questions, and we randomly surveyed a whole cohort of students to find out their perceptions of the pedagogy that was happening in their classroom in mathematics. Feeding that back, the results back to teachers, was really powerful in helping them reflect on and challenge some aspects of their pedagogy that might not have been surfaced in other ways. So the student feedback played an integral part in teachers analysing, challenging their pedagogy, having open discussions with each other about what was happening in the learning in mathematics. With the junior primary students, what we got them to do was to draw pictures of themselves learning in mathematics, and we presented these pictures back to the teachers, who were able to talk about what pedagogies were predominant in their classrooms, and that was quite challenging. And it was really powerful and brought up a lot of open discussion amongst staff. In activating student voice and in looking at perception data as well as academic data, we can say that growth mindsets in the classroom have made a difference to student achievement in mathematics.
So Georgia, I know you've been doing some really interesting work both at your own school as well as across the partnership. So would you just like to tell people a little bit about that?
Well, the professional learning community at our school started 2 terms ago, where we started with the 5 and 5 model, which is 5 students and 5 teachers working together to plan new ways of assessment for the school. Teachers can bring in ideas that they've got for their classes, and the students run their feedback on it. We put forward questions that we might see students having, and it's a way for them to act upon the Compass survey that we did in our school, like we're just talking about on the video, where we assessed our 2 site priorities, assessment for learning and student voice in learning. So the teachers are all aiming their work now around the findings from our Compass survey.
So, and I was talking with Justin, who's one of your 5, is that right? Yes, in your PLC. And we're asking him, and I say, what was that like, you know, when you first started that work, when you came together with the kids and you were pushing, what do you call it, the teacher's pitch?
Yep.
Yeah, so the teachers would pitch their ideas at the kids about we're thinking about doing this and this, and the kids would give them critical feedback and then also talk about what they think would work. And I know Justin was saying it was a little bit confronting at first, wasn't it? But it's actually been incredibly helpful in terms of shifting and having more impact with what's going on. And in a really short time, couple of terms. Yeah. So Bella, do you want to just Georgia? Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about how that works and how how it goes?
Yeah. So we meet once a fortnight. We have our little TfEL room, and the teachers, one teacher a week will come prepared with what they're going to do in their classroom next, and they pitch their idea, and then they have the time for us, the students and the other teachers, to put forward any questions that we have about it, ways that they could change it, ways that they could improve, and then they go back and make any changes that they need to do on it, and then they'll come back again however long after they put it into their classrooms and see how it's going.
Okay, so it's almost like a think tank for teachers and
Yes.
helping with their planning designs, their learning
Continuous,
design. Yeah, continuous, fantastic. And I know also, so that's sort of something you've been doing that's just at your
Yep.
site, and that's the strategy there, but you've also been doing student learning commissions across the
Yep.
partnership. Do you want to just,
Yeah.
people might not know about that.
We have the Ulibarri Partnership, which is our 6 primary schools, 3 preschools and 1 high school, which is my school. And we get together twice a term for the past almost a year. And it's all about new learning for the students, ways students can teach students, dialogue, feedback for their learning, feedback to each other, feedback to their teachers, and bringing all the students together to share their ideas that's going on across their sites.
And I think what's happening is that you actually meet kids from across the different
Yeah.
the sites meet at the same time that the leaders meet for their
Yeah.
local partnership meeting time, and then
Yes.
during the day you actually come together at a time during the day and have some exchange about the ideas together. So how has that been going? Has that been working well?
It's
And what's that like?
It's been really cool because in the Ulibarri Partnership, most of the students will only see each other in a competitive sporting environment, the SAPSASA. So for them to come together and actually do some new learning is really cool, and to see all the students, we're now taking charge of our own learning and seeing students that are the same age as Bella telling us what to do.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
really cool.
So that's sort of like a partnership PLC for the
Yeah.
kids who are helping each other learn
Yeah.
about learning and
Yes.
getting better at that. I know also, I'm just thinking about, I keep doing this, Georgia. I know that one of the things that you've also done is that you pulled together some of that material and worked with Jen and some of the team to create some resources around establishing a student learning commission that are available for other schools to use. And that's one of the intents of the work across these schools, is kids and teachers piloting and creating some resources and processes that they're actually trialling and creating themselves for others to be able to use and to access.